Vector. Each of the physical quantities are placed in two categories, either as scalar or vector. First, we will discuss scalar. Scalar quantities are those quantities that is completely specified by positive or negative number with appropriate units. For example, mass, length, time. These are actually scalar quantities. Means you can say scalar quantities are those quantity which is having magnitude and they never have any direction. The example is mass, length, time, etc. Whereas a vector is a physical quantity that must be specified by both magnitude and direction. Means vector are those quantities which are having magnitude as well as direction, and they must follow certain rule which we will discuss later. The question arises how to write vector. So we can write vector as, if I want to say that A is a vector, if I want to prove that, say that A is a vector, then I will write here A and put an arrow over it. So it represents a vector, or I can write it by bold letter. This is also read as vector A. Now vector is made up of two things. One is magnitude. So magnitude of vector A is written as mod A. This is also written as simply A. This is called magnitude of vector A. It only represents the measurement of vector A. The second is A cap. A cap is a unit vector. It only represents the direction of this vector A. It is read as A cap. It is also called unit vector of vector A. It is called unit vector because mod of A cap is always 1. It doesn't have any unit and it only represents the direction of vector A. Now, here we need some standard unit vector, because as we know, if I say A cap, so it is impossible for any reader to know its direction. It is impossible to know its direction because direction is infinite. So we use I cap. I cap is a unit vector along positive x axis. So this vector, this direction, positive x direction is written by I cap. So I cap is a unit vector which only represents the direction along positive x axis, whereas minus I cap is along negative. This is minus I cap. Minus I cap is a unit vector which is along negative x axis. J cap is a unit vector along positive y axis. This is along positive y axis, whereas minus j cap is a unit vector along negative y axis. K cap is a unit vector along positive z axis. This is k cap, and minus k cap is along negative z axis. In this direction it is minus k cap. So these are the standard unit vector which we will use. Also mod of I cap and mod of j cap, mod of k cap, mod of minus I cap, mod of minus j cap, mod of minus k cap is always 1, because all these are unit vector. Now the properties of some vector, some properties of vector. First, if a vector is displaced parallel to itself, it does not change, because as we know it is having magnitude, it is having direction. A vector is made up of magnitude and direction. If the magnitude of the vector and direction of vector is same, suppose if I move this vector in this direction, so as we know this is a vector A, this is vector A. It is made up of two things, one is magnitude and the other is direction. If I move this vector from this point to this point, this vector will remain same because its magnitude is same, its direction is same. Means vector is independent of its position. If I put it here, then also it is vector A. If I put it here, then also it is vector A. So irrespective of position, magnitude, if magnitude and direction of the vector are same, so the vector will remain same. So this vector and this vector both are actually similar vector, or you can say both are same. Next thing, if a vector If the frame of reference is translated or rotated, vector does not change, though its component may change. Means, okay, if I rotate this x-axis, suppose this is our x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. This is x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. This is the vector A. Since this vector is made up of magnitude and direction, if I rotate this xyz axis, if I make this y-axis, x-axis and z-axis like this, but the vector remains same like this. So if the magnitude and direction of vector is same, then rotation of this coordinate system never change the vector. Its component may change. The next property is two vectors are equal if their magnitude and direction both are equal. Suppose this is vector A, this is vector A. If I move this, if the length of this vector, if this is vector A, if I draw a vector which is also having same length and same direction, if the length of these two vectors are same, if the direction of these two vectors are same, these two vectors are said to be equal vectors. So vector A and vector B are equal if and only if mod of vector A are equal, mod of vector A is equal to mod of vector B, and A cap is also equal to B cap. Means the two vectors are equal if their magnitude are same and their direction is same. Negative of a vector. Negative of a vector means a vector of same magnitude but of opposite direction. Suppose this is vector A. This is again a vector. It can be written as minus A, provided the length of these two vectors are same. Their direction are exactly opposite, then these two are also called opposite vector. Null vector or zero vector is defined as a vector whose magnitude is 0 and has no specified direction. Null vector doesn't have any direction. If we multiply by vector by a scalar, only its magnitude changes. Suppose this is vector A. If I write vector B, which is equal to 2 times vector A, so it means the magnitude of vector B is equal to 2 times magnitude of vector A. But B cap is always equal to A cap. So if we multiply by vector by 2, it becomes of double length. This is 2 times vector A. Its length will be double, but its direction will remain same. This is the meaning of multiplication of vector by a scalar. The magnitude increases or decreases, whereas the unit vector will remain same. Division of two vector is not defined. If I say what is I cap by I cap, so usually you can say it is 1, but this is wrong answer. It is not defined, because the division of direction is a sense whose division is not defined. So vector is made up of magnitude and direction. So if we divide the two vector, means we are going to divide the two direction which is not defined. So I cap is not defined, or vector A divided by vector B is also not defined, never exist. Multiplication of vector is either by cross product or by dot product, which we will discuss later. The multiplication, vector multiplication, is defined as A dot B or A cross B, and these two definitions, these two products are totally different. A dot B is different and A cross B is different. Now how to draw a vector 5 I cap. So first we will discuss how to draw a vector of 5 I cap unit. Suppose this 5 is in meters, so I will draw a line segment which is 5 meter long. This is 5 meter. I cap means it is along positive x axis. So I will start a vector, drawing a vector. This vector, its length is 5 and its direction is along positive